And hello, welcome in. This is Magi. We're playing Mushroom Musume today, which is another demo from Steam Next Fest, as you can see right here. And it's developed by Mortally Moonstruck Games. It's a text-based life sim / RPG where you raise a mushroom from a spore into a, quote, fine young woman. Then discover the twists and turns her life may take in this creepy cute fairy tale life simulation game. End quote. It's an odd one. I figured, hey, let's give it a try. It looks cute, and I like life sims. So yeah. Once upon a time, there was a humble recluse. Though they had no need for society, they did often find themselves home to... Wait, did I miss something? No. They did often find themselves home to a loneliness that they could never quite shake. In the morning, the sun would rise. At night, it would set. The recluse would observe the splendor, knowing that the sight would be made all the more beautiful by having someone to share it with. It wasn't that they desired a relationship. Perhaps it was a flame that had burned them one too many times. Or perhaps they were simply disinterested. No, a child. That's what they wanted. Someone to take care of, to teach. Unfortunately, it was a longing that could not be found. Not in these woods, alone. However, we're never quite as alone as we think, are we? One day, a witch appeared, as if drawn by the intensity of the recluse's desire. The lumber that the recluse had spent the morning gathering slipped through their hands as they spotted her, the witch of the woods. She began to speak. You desire a child, yes? For some, those are quite easy to come by, but not you, it would seem. Let us make a deal, then. If you do 3 simple chores for me, I will present you with a daughter of your very own. The recluse caught up in a moment of naivety, quickly agreed. The witch, knowing that the recluse was destined to accept, simply nodded and began to deliver the first of these so-called chores without hesitation. Your child will come into this world with little to her name. Let us even the scales. Bring me an heirloom, something she will forever value. The recluse thought on it briefly, searching through their home for the object they had pictured. Your most used cast iron skillet, a dark weathered tome, or a glimmering music box. Let's go with a dark weathered tome. That seems pretty great. Once it had been said to the recluse that knowledge is power, they weren't sure about that. Books often contained fanciful things that the recluse never got much use out of, but perhaps they would be more useful to their daughter. Bringing their prize back to the witch, she simply gave a smile. How perfect. After a brief detour to meet with the witch, the recluse resumed their normal day-to-day schedule. The second day, the recluse slept more soundly that night than they had in ages. Having a purpose again soothed them, even if they had found themselves caught up with a witch. They elected not to think about that, though. Instead, when the morning came, they simply did what they had to do, which is to say, they got up and went to meet with a witch. Upon watching the recluse's approach, a sardonic smile lit the witch's face. You completed your first task admirably. 2 more and I can finally give you what you want. She paused for only a moment before delivering her next message of import. It is important for a young person to be well grounded in this world, I hear. Bring me a jar of soil to help with this process. Keep in mind that not all dirt is the same, though. Consider the source carefully. Soil? That did sound somewhat magical, the recluse supposed. Left with this vague prompt, they considered their options. The witch's own front yard, your favorite foraging nook, or the most picturesque section of forest you have ever set eyes upon. Okay, let's go this way. There was a place they had passed through on occasion, decorated with green leaves and fragrant blossoming flowers. A place of beauty that left one in such awe was the only choice, only the best for their daughter. Arriving back at their meeting place, the recluse was excited to share the selection with the witch. So that's what you picked, eh? Very well, it shall do. Feeling the need to scrub the skin, the recluse retired to their hut to cleanse themselves. The third day. With 2 assignments complete, the recluse could feel their excitement grow. If this witch was being honest, and for some reason they felt that she was, then that meant that this could be the last night they spent without a child. They hoped so, at least. It was all they could do. Barely remembering to get dressed, the recluse dashed to the meeting spot. Again, the witch had been waiting there for them. Welcome back, recluse. Are you prepared? Today's your big day, is it not? The last task is an easy one, or at least I believe so. Bring me something colorful, something bright that you think will suit her. When they were first told of a free task, the recluse had imagined things that were much more difficult. It seemed so easy as to be a trick, which they supposed only meant they should take it seriously, as if a mistake could mean death. With death in mind, the recluse needed to decide where to search for color. A field of flowers, or a stony river. I feel like a field of flowers is the best place for colors. Although a stony river could have a lot of like minerals on it, and fish, and the flora obviously. Let's go to the stony river. Though underwater wasn't the first place most people thought of for color, the recluse understood there were many shades that people failed to consider. They arrived at a nearby river, glancing into the glassy water to spy a variety of small shining stones. Turquoise, prized symbols of luck and fortune. Brimstone, a yellowed alchemical wonder. A strange, almost bloody stone. Jasper, nature's deep brown canvas. Marble, the pale proprietor of possibility. I like the idea of turquoise. Or brimstone. Let's go with turquoise. A vivid hue of a chunk of turquoise caught the recluse's eye, beckoning their hand. The stone presented itself like the sky, like the waters, like purity rarely seen. Stone in hand, they returned to the witch, captivated by nature's beauty. Let's go with turquoise. Recluse returned to the witch's hut, colored item in hand. She silently took the object, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. If we look at the almanac, we've got the Mushipedia over here. I don't know what that is. Endings discovered. Number of living daughters, number of fallen daughters, total endings. Oh my god. Daughters grown. Average dampness, average mycelium, average robustness, average potency, average humanity, number of LBMs. I don't know what LBMs means. Chroma collection. Override game color, high contrast. Let's not. Flower colors, stone colors. Special colors. Gotcha. And then there's music as well. Sheet music. Wait, sheet music? I like that we can add stuff to the playlist. That's super cool. Like, it reminds me a bit of, what's it called? Coffee Talk 2. Hibiscus and Butterfly? Hold on, let me check. Hibiscus and Butterfly. There we go. That's the title. You basically were able to put links, like music, into the Spotify playlist, essentially. Or rather, it wasn't Spotify, but rather, like, you know, it was built like it. There was the soundtrack playing in the background, and you could just choose to play one song on repeat, or add a different song into it, or put it on shuffle, etc. It was very, very interesting. I like the idea of that a lot. Endings discovered. Oh, this is kind of cool, though. So turquoise tinted everything now. She silently took the object, nodding her head to the recluse in recognition. The recluse stood there for a moment, unsure, before finally the witch realized what they expected. Oh ho ho, you want your promised daughter, don't you? Her voice was almost mocking, but at least it was not overtly cruel. Overtly cruel. I suppose I must tell you that I lied, human. I do require several more trifling things from you. First, the matter of payment. Recluse should have known that everything is for a cost. Pay me now with wealth, pay me now with life, pay me some time sooner in larger quantities, or pay me at a much later date in the way I choose. I need wealth to take care of a daughter, so I'll pay now with life. and told the witch they would offer life as payment. Certainly, stepping forward, she took them in a cold, yet not unkind embrace. They awoke hours later, with an uneasy feeling that something was missing. The witch was still there, waiting for the recluse. With the payment settled, the witch simply smiled and handed the recluse a small pot. Humans are tricky, but mushrooms are much more resilient. Consider this an upgrade. Don't worry, eventually she will develop a mind. Simply give her time, as much as she needs. Soon your wish will be in full bloom. I suppose with all that settled though, there's one last thing for you to consider. A young girl needs a proper name. Recluse thought on the witch's demand before offering the final thing they had to give. What is her name? Chanterelle? I think that's a mushroom. It sounds like a mushroom. I'll go for it. Then she walked away, only fate knowing if the two should ever meet again. Chapter 2, Cultivation. The recluse was unsure of her specifics. They did realize that it was important to heed her instructions. Care for the pot and the dirt and everything that lay within. So the recluse get up, as any parent should, and assessed the things they needed to raise a child. Oh my goodness. Judgment for parents that don't gear up properly before expecting a child. Finances in case the nearby village had goods or services that you could not provide. Nutrients for the child. To help it grow strong, they would need plenty, as it would be depleted on a daily basis. And finally, Recluse's own stamina could not be ignored. One cannot burn the candle from both ends indefinitely. That is true. Thus began the longest growing season of a recluse's life. You realize that buried in your new goal, you've forgotten to feed yourself or procure any human food, really. What seems like the most nutritious option. What was this mushroom for again? Looks tasty. To the woods for foraging. To the village, their market has many enticing goods. Finances are 8, nutrients are 8, stamina is 1. Sneak morsels away from your charge. So this would remove nutrients. This is finances. This is stamina. And this is everything. Oh, nothing really. There are things that you cannot possibly find or make on your own, and sometimes you desire them. Rarely do you indulge, but today is different. Strolling into the market, you find a booth with a particularly interesting food that you've never had before. A strange soup that's fake hearty and incredibly spicy. You purchase more than you can eat and decide to give your child the scraps. They seem to invigorate her. The decision being made, life continued. So nutrients went down, finances went down, stamina stayed the same. Recently, you've begun to think about your daughter's living quarters, specifically a pot. You have a few ideas of how to improve, but you only have so much time. Which do you decide to move forward with? Buy some fancy substrate from town. Infuse the soil with a drop of your own blood. Decorate the pot. Ensure that her soil remains ever damp. Use your cooking scraps as compost. Let's ensure that her soil remains ever damp. Chanterelle. Turquoise mushroom. She's not done growing yet. Okay. Let's return. Let's go here. You've noticed that she has a tendency to dry out over time. Obviously, that is the nature of such things, but you want to keep her as comfortably moist as you can manage. You assume that's what she wants, after all. It's what you would want if you were a mushroom. The forest has many supplies for those who can see them. You spend an afternoon gathering moss, peat, and other fun little things. When you return, you carefully take her out of the pot and resituate the soil. Resituate? Though she can't thank you, you hope she appreciates it nonetheless. Her quality of life having been improved. Life continued. Our stamina is down. Huh? Something happened. Your daughter has changed in the night. Underdeveloped and feral. She's not done growing yet. Okay. One day you awaken suddenly, discovering that your mushroom has gained enough limbs to propel themselves around the house. The creature toddles on uneasy legs, bumping into objects noisily. An acute face now shows a vacant expression. Her demeanor seems pensive and unsure, sometimes staring long at unfamiliar objects. Encourage her thoughtfulness. Spend time nurturing her environment. Motivate her to do something more productive. Oh my god, it's a toddler. Gotta encourage her. Your daughter's development is going better than expected, and you want to promote her inquisitive nature. You gather a collection of unusual things from around your house for her to look at, such as nooks, antiques, and broken tools. She continues to observe the things you bring her for long hours, seemingly finding some enrichment in the activity. The decision being made, life continued. You haven't been taken very good care of yourself, and you find yourself so worn out that even leaving the house is a challenge. If you continue on without regard for your own stamina, you might very well die. Stay in bed today, you need to rest. You'll sleep when you're dead, which may be very soon. Let's stay in bed. You'll be no use to your daughter in this state, so you decide to spend the day resting. Sitting in bed, you think about your daughter and all the tasks you'll get done tomorrow. The decision being made, life continued. One evening, you hear a light knocking at your door. Quite a rare occurrence. Peeking through the window, you witness none other than the Witch of the Woods standing on the doorstep of your humble hut. Could she be here for a visit, or to settle a debt? Introduce her to your daughter. Privately request a stipend. Let's introduce her. Perhaps it was time for your daughter to meet the witch. She could maybe even learn a thing or two. The two of you answer the door and invite the gloomy woman inside for dry and awkward small talk. Something about the way the two absently stare at each other. You wonder if they've made some sort of connection today. The witch is kind of our other parent, you know? Our partner, in a way. The decision being made, life continued. Huh? Something's happening. Oh, your daughter has changed in the night. Underdeveloped and feral. Child? Despite a rocky introduction, your daughter is as civil as any human now. One morning you notice that your daughter is nowhere to be seen. After an hour of searching the nearby area, you find her sitting alone in a familiar clearing. To your surprise, the creature had now taken the form of a young girl. You feel relieved to confirm the witch hadn't betrayed you. At your approach, she turns and smiles at you, before continuing to thoughtfully stare into the space. Sit with her in silence. Buy her a nice gift to celebrate. Tell her it's time to go home. What? Sit with her in silence. You don't want to know what your daughter is thinking about so intently, but decide not to disturb her. Taking a seat next to her, you appreciate the beauty of the forest and spend time thinking lovingly of your daughter. After nearly an hour, she stands up and heads back home, seemingly finished with her introspection. The decision being made, life continued. Your daughter needs food too, and you've just run out. You need to find something to feed her soon, or she'll surely starve. Spend a day gathering nutritious substrate. You can't spare the time today. She'll have to go hungry. No. We're gonna give food to her. We gain nutrients. It's a little hard to be sure, but it seems like she's thankful for your efforts. You spend the day foraging and digging in the woods, and return with a heap of mushroom food for your hungry daughter. The decision being made, life continued. Your daughter has been getting bigger lately, and it's been easier than ever to see her as the child that she is. Did anything change? Affection has increased a fair bit. She's your daughter, even after all, even if she doesn't always look like much of one. If your daughter is well loved, she'll be able to improve the things more quickly. She's personable and whimsical. You've seen mushrooms before that have a certain special gleam. Your daughter does not yet have this gleam, but she could if you raise her right. Mystic bond. You have developed some rapport with your creator, the Witch of the Woods. And she's a bookworm. Thankfully, you've been taught to read. I don't know why it's talking as if we're the mushroom. Maybe it's like talking to the mushroom. We're explaining it to our child. I guess. Today you'll want to teach her something fun. Something that human children often get to partake in. What activity will the two of you partake in today? Make a deer disappear. Hide and go seek. Arm wrestling. Quietly count to 1000. Dress up. Let's go with hide and seek. Initially, you take the role of it as you explain the rules to her, hide somewhere you won't be found, and wait until the seeker finds you. The first run goes smoothly up until it is her turn to be it. As it turns out, your daughter is much trickier than you are, or at least she's able to hide in much more hidden places. You end up spending half a day trying to find where she went. Thankfully, it seems she has enjoyed her time spent hiding. In the following weeks, she's constantly asking to play, if only you always had the time. Oh, the game being taught, life continued. An end? One night you find yourself struggling to sleep. Your mind wanders as you consider your current place in life. You've lived peacefully with your daughter for many moons. Initially it was strange. Well, it never stopped being strange, but you were always thankful for the company. Besides the affection you felt for her, was like any parent would feel toward their child. That was normal, at least. Your thoughts turned to the concept of time, particularly how you were once alone and how you're afraid that you will be again someday. Your daughter has had more and more curiosities about the outside world. It's only a matter of time before she wants to strike her own path. You hope you will be fulfilled now. You hope you've done enough. Ultimately, you find comfort in what you've done. You may have had many failures in your life, but there's one thing you know you can die proud of. Again, try it. Wait, and a new beginning. Telling the recruits that you want to see more of the world wasn't an easy conversation. As they grow older, you're worried about leaving them on their own. Thankfully, your concerns were unwarranted. They were happy that you had grown enough. Oh, that's we're now the mushroom. They were happy that you had grown enough to want to move out. They even offered to help you build your own house. Close to this, you were welcome to visit any time, obviously. Faster than you would have anticipated, the two of you built your home together. They showed you all the tricks they knew, and made sure to impart as much knowledge as they possibly could. Finally, the day arrived, you were officially on your own. You were scared, a little, but also excited. It felt like a new chapter was just beginning for you. Loving parent. A girl on her own, Chantal, common turquoise pixie parasol. Info? Slime form. Your body's made of something slick and magical. You can feel it to your core. Incompetent. You are, unfortunately, just not very good at much of anything. Wow. Tiny glistening mushroom associated with a fae. Ooh. Dampness, mycelium, robustness, potency, humanity. Cards and tokens. Nope, don't like an event. Use one of these cards on, and you can be on your way home in no time. Wealth, too. About me, bookworm, and young adult. Reputation, relative obscurity. People don't think much about you. Family matters. Mystic bond and loving parent. The recluse will always live in your heart, and for the time being, next door. And you have developed some rapport with your creator, the Witch of the Woods. Cool. So now we're Vishrum. One day in need of supplies, you head to the local apothecary. It's always a wonderfully cozy experience inside. You have a particular fondness for a painting hung up near the counter of a mushroom woman, much like yourself, with a frog in her lap. Not to mention the vast amounts of ingredients and goodies all readily available to you. Business beats the nitty-gritty of foraging every time. Unfortunately, this time, you feel a set of eyes staring at you. You turn your neck and barely catch a glance at a strange man following you. He's wearing a look as ravenous and tattered as his wizard's hat. Tell the man off. You're not just some component after all. Run back home as quickly as you can. Tell him off. You angrily turn on your heel and yell at him. I am a person, you know. We pass. Oh, we roll the dice. That's cool. You can see him visibly pale, taking a handkerchief out of his pocket and wiping the sweat from his brow as he chokes out an apology. While tending to your home, you begin to feel an otherworldly pull towards the forest. You can't resist, and moments later you find yourself surrounded by trees and standing in front of a mushroom-covered hut. Deep within, you know the witch that made you resides here. Enter the hut with the hope of learning some magic. Enter the hut cautiously and treat her as a stranger. Force yourself to turn tail around and quickly head home. Let's enter the hut. You enter the hut and bow respectfully, addressing the witch as you would an apprentice to a master. She accepts your want for knowledge and begins tutoring you. Time moves strangely in these woods and you aren't sure how long you read scrolls and practice channeling. We gain humanity. By the time we leave, though, you find you've gained slight control over your magical potential. We gained some traits, it seems. A witchling. You are touched by magic in some significant way. I love the word witchling. That's so cute. While wandering the woods near your home, you suddenly hear something rustling in the foliage ahead of you. Before you can react, a large boar bursts from her brush and locks eyes with you. You sense an intense, flaming aura of determination emanate off this wild hog. Resort to magic. Run for your life. It's just a pig, right? Face it head on. You're sure you came prepared for this. Resort to magic. You grin at the hog, preparing a small tempest at the tips of your fingers. We pass with a 9. With a specific intent, a flick of your wrist hurls a gale at the swine, lifting it off its feet and hurling it through the air. After landing, the pig clambers to its feet, scurrying off in fear. You feel a crisp breeze. The heat is relenting. Trees are changing in color. Fall has arrived. A group of 3 armed men stop you while you're out, demanding any goods you may have, or else. The fresh blood on their weapons show that these are not idle threats. Make a run for it. Prepare yourself and attempt to fight them off. Use magic to scare away the bandits. Let's try that again. It's worked out previously, so might as well work out. Yes, please. Yes, nice. Casting a number of weak but still flashy spells does indeed startle the 3 men. They quickly scatter, hopefully learning not to try and rob a lone mushroom girl ever again. The mountains bordering the northern reaches of the forest call to you. You see them every day on your adventures, and there is an overwhelming desire to climb them that simply can't be ignored. Readying yourself in the early hours of the morning, you glance over materials you have on hand. Pack light, pack heavy, don't pack, in fact, just don't go. Let's pack light. You carefully choose each item based on its weight, size, and usefulness. Your pack sits comfortably on your shoulders and allows for your full range of movement. With your pack all set, you make your way out to the mountain. After a couple of hours climbing, you feel like you've made some decent progress. Though you're starting to get a bit tired. Just as you think it's time for a break, you come across a beautiful mountain spring, complete with its own waterfall. Take a relaxing shower, or train your endurance. Let's take a relaxing shower. Let's get very damp and moist here. The waterfall, frigid embrace leaves your skin numb and joints stiff. You take a moment to rest in the sun to warm yourself, but end up falling asleep. At least you're not sweaty anymore. Aww. You wake up in the mountain forest at night. The dark can't stop you. Continue climbing. Let's try this. The moon is full and you decide that you feel fully rested after your little nap. In the moonlight, you carefully make your way up the path. The faint glow of the moon grants everything a pallid shine. Until you realize something. Some of the light is not coming from the sky. Glancing at the base of a tree, you spot small plants glowing happily in the night. Enjoy the light for a moment. Eat one. Let's eat one! Being cautious may help with longevity, but it could never help with curiosity. Before you can overthink it, you pull a fern tip and toss it down the hatch. Thankfully, the plant seems mild in flavor. It could be poisonous, you suppose, but that was a problem for tomorrow. Is what you would have thought had you not immediately passed out upon ingestion. You wake up in the morning feeling different. Slime form, incompetent. We're glowing. You've become a very reliable night light. We're now a common glow pixie's parasol. You wake up in the morning feeling different. When you look at your hands, you notice something about you has shifted. You suspect you won't ever have to wander in the dark again, or more specifically, the logistics of that will not be more complex. You finally make your way home, wondering if your new glow will be permanent. While walking down a heavily wooded path, you notice a disheveled woman slumped mournfully against the base of a tree. She bears numerous scratches and light wounds as well as peculiarly coal-black lips. Her clothes are torn and dirty, but despite this, you can tell they were once quite expensive. Curiosity piqued, you approach the woman, asking if she needs help with something. The woman grimaces, shaking her head. Nothing can be done for me. I've been sentenced to death. As she speaks, you notice her tongue is stained, as if she had been licking ink. You can't help but feel intrigued, so you insist. What does she mean? A few weeks ago, I was walking through these woods when I witnessed the most beautiful woman I had ever known, picking flowers alone. I am ashamed to say I was so taken by her stunning looks that I followed the woman, aiming to at least ask her name. I discovered far too late, however, that it was no woman but the Witch of the Woods herself. Your eyes widen. Few humans would even speak of a witch. To follow her into the forest is regarded as, well, a death sentence. I know not if it was a punishment or fulfillment of my unspoken request, but upon my approach, she twisted around and met me with a terrifyingly intense kiss. When I came around again, I bore a terrible curse. She visibly trembled, pulling at the tattered ends of her elegant dress. Solid cobbles seemed to shift under my feet, and steady tools breathed like snakes in my grass, conspiring to be dropped. I've been doomed to fail at all things. I've lost my work, my coin, and cannot even prepare food or forage without injuring myself. It has reached the point where I can do nothing but sit here and wait. She trails off, pursuing her blackened lips. Again, the doomed lady falls against the tree, staring blankly. It's apparent that she has utterly lost her will to go on. A cursed kiss from a witch of the woods? How unexpected! Ask her to give a curse to you with a kiss. Decline to interfere in the witch's business. Tell her to pursue a romance with the witch. Attempt to dispel the curse. Let's try. You tell the woman that you are a witchling yourself. Dispelling a little curse like this should be no problem for you. Very well, please go ahead. She seems somewhat hopeful. You really hope you know what you're talking about. Closing your eyes, you pull at the strings of magical effluvia clinging to the woman, untangling the curse from her essence. However, each time your spell pulls away at the curse, you find it impossibly tangled, intermittently snagged and woven, layer upon layer. The witch has you beat. This curse is something beyond your current understanding of magic, the domain of witches, not witchlings. You take a moment to compose yourself, a little bit embarrassed by how drained you are by the effort. When you finally open your eyes, the woman is still smiling at you. She's a nasty one, isn't she? She gives you a knowing wink. Thank you for trying, though, really. Perhaps my burden feels a little lighter now. You aren't sure if she means it, but at least she isn't angry. Maybe you'll visit her again sometime, if only to learn something more of the Witch of the Woods and her strange magic. A chilling breeze greets you one morning, heralding the approach of winter. The end of the year approaches and you find yourself considering your aspirations. You want to accomplish something significant, you decide. Something you'll remember. Take on a dangerous quest. Attend a charming evening at the gala. Decide not to pursue anything. Let's go with a charming evening at the gala. Recently you've garnered enough attention in the area to be invited to a high-class evening. Did we, though? Aren't we... Don't we have relative obscurity? People don't think much about us? We're a young adult now, though. Spells cast free. You've garnered enough attention. Oh, wait. Can I look at my stats and what I do? Increased by the ideal growing conditions or by loving presence. The stat is associated with physical strength, but it could also be a strength of character. Dampness. Increased by good soak or by melancholic moment. This stat indicates how wet and slimy her body is, but also a murkiness of the soil. Increased by the right nutrients or by the things that nourish the soul. The stat is associated with how generally healthy she is, and yet it could also be a persistent optimism. Increased by a titillating meal or by titillating danger. This stat is tied to the strength of a mushroom type, or ability to perform in stressful situations. In humanity, increased by thorough socialization or by doing the right thing. The stat is how good of a person she is. Literally and metaphorically. Okay. Recently you've garnered enough attention in the area to be invited to a high-class evening. This could be an opportunity to celebrate the year, or invite someone you wish to grow closer with. Attend the gala alone. Invite the doomed woman. Invite the person who raised you. Actually, don't go to the gala. The doomed woman loves someone else. But the person that raised us, our father, our parent, or mother, something like along those lines, you know, the recluse. They love us, and we love them. So let's go with them. You know that the recluse is not a fan of crowds, however, the thought of attending the gala with them appealed to you. Besides, you couldn't imagine a better person to laugh at normal humans with. The gala isn't until the end of the year. That should be plenty of time to pay the recluse a visit. We also get to visit them, which is nice. While wandering the woods, you always do your best to remain vigilant to possible outside entities that you could run into. Certain animals are keen to cause problems for you, and that's not even to mention the humans. It's with this awareness that you detect a nearby being. You pause, listening to a soft sounds of footsteps, human footsteps, you suspect, or at least something vaguely human in shape. Finally, you could spot the intruder. A realization floods over you. The recluse. Silent retreat into the woods. Nope. No. We're gonna rush over to greet them. You've not been by to visit him recently, so you consider this something of a fortunate encounter. Chores and your parent, all in one outing. Without any further hesitation, you rush over and wrap your arms around them in a greeting. Thankfully, they had time to see you coming. Chanterelle, they explain, returning the hug. What a coincidence seeing you here. The two of you swap greetings, and you can't help but to pry about what they're up to. Growing up, you always felt like they were doing something interesting, so why not now? Your theory is proven correct, but Recluse goes on to explain. As you discover, they have a bit of a deal with the leader of a nearby village. In exchange for dealing with grisly situations that the villagers could never stomach themselves, Recluse gets to live in the unincorporated land near the village without having to concern themselves with a minutiae of civilization. No surveys, no taxes, just what exactly is the favor they're doing again? There have been some concerns amongst local parents. They explain some hooligans have been trying to kidnap children recently. It's a big problem. A little quick mute right there to cough. I'm still not over it, but I'm getting there. Hooligans, shouldn't the local guardians be dealing with such things and not the recluse? Well, these hooligans are a bit rowdier than most. They live in the river, you see. Most of the guard can't be bothered to dirty their boots in such an undignified way. And have been snuck into their voice, a rare piece of insight into their thoughts. Before long, you can hear running water. The river approaches. Or that is to say, you approach the river. Finally, you and the recluse stand before the water. They nod, then speak. We should be close to their base. This observation is proven correct when the sound of raucous laughter seems to bubble up from the water. How do I pronounce that? If anyone has, a clue, let me know. The recluse drops their pack to the ground and pulls off their overclothes. They retrieve a hatchet from their bag and turn to walk towards the water. Wait patiently while the recluse does whatever it is they need to do. Offer to help. Let's offer to help. Friendly, call out and tell them to wait. A thought occurs. There's something beneath these waters that needs killing, correct? And humans are somewhat allergic to water, or something of that effect. Why should the recluse take the risk when you are standing right here? At the very least, you could bait the creatures up to land, where the recluse would surely have a much easier time doing what needs to be done. The recluse gives you a long, hard look before shaking their head. Aw, I can't let you do that. It's just not safe. You don't know these things like I do. You watch the recluse dive into the water with a certain casualness. Without looking away, your eyes find themselves fixed on the surface of the water. In the same way you had just heard laughter, you now hear screams. The water turns funny colors, but only for a moment. The current washes away all evidence, inevitably. Finally, the recluse emerges. They take a big breath and grin at you. The matter has been resolved. Giving you a hearty pat on the shoulder as they pass, the recluse returns the hatchet to the pack. You notice they also seem to be putting something else away. It appears to be something small and shiny. They almost look like pieces of a shell. Before parting paths, the recluse gives you a big wet hug. They seem fine at least. We gain mycelium and dampness. Oh well, hopefully you won't ever think about it again. While on an expedition to a nearby swamp, you lose track of time. The sun has already set in the sky, and the trees surrounding you seem more menacing now. As you contemplate your situation, try to figure out the best thing to do. Sleep in an abandoned building, follow the light of your own glow, follow a random road, keep cool and calmly evaluate your situation, look for help, wander through the woods. Let's do this. Follow the light of your own glow. Before devolving into a panic, realize that the glow from your body works excellently to show you around. With all the water and swamp gas, Your faint illumination has become something of a beacon, and before long you begin to find familiar pathways. The night is still young. By the time you return to the warmth of your bed, and you sleep soundly under the glow of your own nightlight. While foraging one day, you discover a dilapidated outhouse in the middle of the forest. You wonder what it's doing out here. After all, the surrounding area is all land that has clearly been abandoned for some time. Inspect the facility. Use the facility. Let's inspect it. An outhouse, you posit, or perhaps a sacred and disguised altar. It only makes sense for there to be some sort of magical connotation to an otherwise abandoned outhouse in the middle of the woods, right? Surely that must be the case, and so steadying your anticipation, you open the outhouse door. Wow, amazing. It's really not well kept. Finally, you expect something, well, magical, like maybe if a thing was bigger on the inside or... Wait, hold on a minute. There appears to be treasure, magical treasure, inside the pit latrine, and a convenient pouch of holding right next to the seat. Amazing. You are now the lucky owner of a pouch of magical night soil. Giddy with excitement, you make your way... That sounds wild. You make your way back home, curious as to the properties of your newly found agent. We gained a trait... Spore. Empower spells or poison with spores at the cost of your own potency. Let's see. What did we get? Inventory. Magical night soil. It's poop! Note, not actually magical, just some normal night soil. Perfectly coiled. Is night soil just a word for poop? We also have a trusty knife. You've had it since you were a child, and it has always performed perfectly. We have a slot over here, but nothing else. Family matters. Magic's acquired. Witchling, you are touched by magic in some significant way. A gala with your parent. You want to attend the gala with a recluse. Didn't we gain a trait? Young adult. You've grown into a young woman unexpectedly. Bookworm glowing. Whatever. One afternoon while sitting at home, you realize something. Today's the day of the town's end-of-year gala. This was something you've been anticipating. You were thrilled when your parent agreed to join you. They must be on their way now. Chapter 4. Recluse's Big Night Out. When your daughter had suddenly suggested that you... Oh, wait, now the recluse. That you attend a large social function in town, you were a little torn. You knew that you had to do it, in the same sense you would have to do any silly little thing she asked, because she's your child and you love her. But this? Simply put, you're unsure whether she gets a taste for such things. It's surely not from you. As the sun approached its zenith, you knew you would be arriving at her home any moment. Then the two of you could share the walk to town. Though you are regularly forced to make brief visits to the village, you do your best to avoid the hustle and bustle of the more populated areas. Tonight would be an exception. Finally, you could see a dot of glow in the distance. Chantrel. Greet her with a hug. A nice pat on the shoulder will do. No. Greet her with a hug. As she approaches, you rush up and greet her with a tight hug. The two of you decide to begin the long walk to the location of the gala. The most direct path has you passing through the village, a walk that the two of you have taken together quite often. Let me look at the mush. I can't. This evening the town is lively. Many seem to be making preparations for the gala, and you find that your daughter's attention has been thoroughly captured by someone selling floral accessories. You will find your corsages are the finest in all the land, the salesman claims. Our corsages. You find yourself dubious, but Chantrel has a sparkle in her eye. Buy it for her? Flowers? You can gather those yourself. Or the girl is already organic, she doesn't need flowers. No. Buy it for her. Oh, what the hell. The girl so rarely seeks out material goods, you feel as though she deserves a little treat. Yeah, it's like the gesture that counts, right? You take the coins from your purse and, much to her surprise, purchase one of the flowered bracelets. Without further ado, you slip it into her arm. Thankfully, it's a natural fit. The salesman thanks you, and your daughter continues the trek. Our finances are up in the air right now. With the matter settled, the two of you finished your comfortable walk to the estate the gala was held at. You find yourself thinking about this event. It's one that you have heard about for many years, yet you've never felt the urge to learn more. As the large building entered your sight, you can't help but think that you'd still rather avoid it, alas it was out of your hands. Thankfully your daughter looked pleased enough for the both of you. Perhaps it was the spectacle? Just seeing all of these people around, donning fancy clothes and smug looks. Maybe she didn't notice those, or maybe they were all in your head? Before you can dwell any longer, Chantal grabs your hand and drags you in. New song. As you enter, your senses are overwhelmed with all of the things that humans do at events like this. Musicians in the corner chirping away on their instruments, a wafting aroma of food and drink far fancier than you are used to. A wonderland of human creation, by humans for humans. Sometimes you feel as though you don't fit into that category, or that you must not if you don't enjoy such things. But for now, you overlook the man-made chaos. You and Chantal will wander the gala for a while, familiarizing yourself with the locale. Finally, after getting a good look at everything, you find yourself tiring. You sit at a table and Chantal sits beside you. While sitting, you and your daughter can't help but overhear some concerning nearby chatter. It would appear that a dance-off is to take place. Unfortunately, a dance-off does not seem to refer to turning dancing off. Evidently, it's some manner of intense tournament where the last dancers left standing win. You can see the gears in Chantal's head spinning. She wants to participate in the contest, no doubt. But you're not sure you can do it. Dance-off? I don't feel particularly competitive. Dance-off. We'll try. It's the end of the year party. Let's go. No. You cannot believe you have reared a child that desires not only to dance, but to dance in a competition with you. You also cannot believe that you want to do it. For her. Despite your many concerns. The panic fills your head and chest, and you do your best to push it away. You try to repeat the mantra. It's for her, which helps. You stand, casually dusting your shoulder off, and tell her you are prepared. When you arrive at the dance floor, you're surprised by the number of participants. Probably 200 people stand before you. And you were supposed to dance for longer than any of them. Gulp. The judge of the contest stands tall, wearing a colorful scarf to distinguish them from the crowd. The rules are simple. The last duo dancing wins. Now let's hear for the band. As they finish speaking, the band leaps to life. Loud melodic music fills the dance floor as the participants begin to dance. Gala groove. Damn. Now all that's left is to dance. Cut the rug. You aren't as spry as you once were. Beads of sweat start to form on your forehead. Dance like no one's watching. As you put your left foot in and your right foot out, you find the heat you feel in your brain overwhelming. For just a moment, everything goes numb. Then you realize you're looking up from the floor. Chantal's eyes are full of concern at that which barely dissipates as you sit upright. All around you, dancers continue to dance. The bubble around you and Chantal is small, barely enough to prevent your limbs from being danced over on. Nevertheless, the show goes on, you suppose. You stand, dusting yourself off. The pain you feel as a result of your dancing comes as a surprise. You'd have to take it easy tomorrow. But the girl is clearly a little disappointed. She doesn't seem to blame you for your body's failings. Perhaps you're not as young as you used to be. She helps you up. The two of you return home. Chapter 3. Again. Again? Getting back early was something you had realistically expected, which you think helps avoid disappointment. At least you knew the recluse made it back safely. As you grow older, you look back over your life. You think back to the witch who created you and can't help but wonder if everything met her expectations. You wonder if you were the daughter your parent had hoped for. Ending after all this time. You've grown up. Congratulations on finishing your first run of Mushroom Musume. You just discovered one of over 30 endings available in the demo version of the game. We encourage you to experiment a little while growing your next daughter to see just how different she can turn out. Be sure to check out your almanac if you want to track your progress. There's Chantal, and we can always look at her! Ain't she adorable? Endings discovered. You've grown up. Mushipedia. Pixie's Parasol. A tiny glistening mushroom associated with a fae, slime form, and incompetent. extra star ones. We've got plenty in December to keep you busy farming for a while, but I thought I'd also tell you a bit about what awaits players in the full game. Is this made by a solo dev? Because they're saying I? No, we're. Okay. The person that is talking right now is using I, but we as a team. They're a team of developers. Gotcha. We're excited to be working on a new system of mini-games for you to play between sessions. Each grown daughter earns you spores, which can then be used to purchase mushroomy gardening supplies. What you grow in your garden can help shape future daughters, allowing players a little more control over our outcome, or even eventually allowing you to jump right into the third act. Not in a gardening mood? Take your hard-earned spores, then your hard-earned spawns can instead be gambled away in exchange for rare goodies. How mysterious, don't you want to know what you'll get? We're also hard at work writing. The full game will have double the word count and double the amount of story content, including an expanded overarching plot. Delve into a dungeon, found a town bustling with fungal life, or maybe even destroy the Witch of the Woods for good, if you want. Not to mention never before seen mushroom girls. Is that a furry mushroom? Not negative. Genuine question. Never before a cover card of new music, even some unique collectibles that are something else entirely. We're aiming to release the full game in winter of 2024. Wishlist us on Steam to keep us up with the newest news. Plus, it helps us out a lot. It does. P.S. Since we're going to be buffing the core gameplay loop, players won't be able to transfer their progress from the demo version. You'll get a little bonus in exchange, at least. Just thought you'd like to know. Thanks for playing. Okay, I need more tea. My voice is starting to wane again. But that was Mushroom Musume. I thought this would be just a little bit of a wait password. If you believe you know a magic word to unlock something special, whisper that word. Wish list? That doesn't sound right to me. Okay, so we can unlock something special by entering a password. Cool. Anyways, that was Mushroom Musume. I just thought it was like a cute life sim kind of thing, and it was indeed just that. Oh, the cough is starting again. And I didn't expect RPG mechanics. It's a bit weird. I was a bit worried that, you know, raising a daughter would be kind of, you know, odd. Kind of like My Lovely Daughter, My Lovely Wife, etc., you know? Where you do bad things. But no, as it turns out, it's very wholesome. And there's some fun little events, but it's overall very whimsical. I like how the beginning of the game is particularly fairytale-like. On top of that, I seen in the settings before I started recording that you can skip unseen text or skip stuff after choices and stuff, you know? Which is very interesting. And there's also like other menu keys and whatnot, including a screenshot key. There's also like self-voicing, which uses, I believe, like Windows text-to-speech stuff. And you have save slots as well, which is interesting and very good, very important actually for visual novels to have. But overall, it seems like a short enough game experience to like play through. Like an hour for a full run, there's over 30 endings. Over time, you'll just skip text that you've seen already. And discover a lot of different mushroom girls. Huzzah! If you'd like to check out the game for yourself, you can wishlist it on Steam right now and also play the demo for yourself. If you'd like to see more of this, let me know and I'll make sure to record some. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I'm sorry for being sick. I'm doing my best to recover. And today I felt good enough to record some. So yeah, if you'd like to see more, let me know. And I'll see you around. Until next time, bye bye.